In the last stream, we started out in the very first page of the quest book here by getting ourselves these jars and these campfires to allow us to progress through, get ourselves some clay, get ourselves some bricks and some glass, and then using the tempered jars, we managed to get both lava and water for the cobblestone generator, and right at the very end of the last episode, we managed to set up this fully automated cobblestone generator, which is now passively producing cobblestone for us. And I think one of the very first things that we should work on at the start of today's episode is, first of all, getting a second chest here so that I can get a bunch of the stuff that's currently clogging up my inventory out of my inventory if we do something like this. And that is not what I wanted to do. I really thought those chests were going to connect, but I think it's because I placed it down the wrong way. If I do it like that, there we go, perfect. Let's clear out basically the entirety of our inventory here. Also middle mouse click, by the way, to organize the inventory automatically. On top of that, I also think that it is going to be in our best interest to get a storage drawer here and use that to replace this chest that we have on top of our cobblestone generator. This is going to be a little bit awkward because all of this is going to spew out if I don't take it out ahead of time. But essentially, for those who don't know, the storage drawer here is like a chest, but it can only hold one item, but it can hold a lot more of that item than a regular chest. A default drawer like this can hold 2,048 of any one given item, and so this is going to hold a lot more cobblestone than one standard chest would, which is great. And we can just take it out at any point in time, left click to take one item, and shift left click to take a stack at a time. Pretty nifty stuff. You can also just right click to put the items back in there. Now that that is taken care of, what I want to work on in today's stream is I would like to work on getting our first bees and using those bees to get other bees and using those other bees to get our first resources. Because right now we still basically just have dirt, cobble, gravel, and wheat, which is not an ideal starting point. So if we want to get our first bees, as we saw in the last episode, we need to get the empty DNA here. This is just 5 clay crafted in a plus sign. Now, right now, we've only got the 3 clay. However, over on the other end of the quest book here, we have now unlocked the ability to make this crusher. And if we look at what we can do with the crusher, it can turn cobblestone into gravel. It takes 60 ticks, which is 3 seconds. And then it can also turn gravel into sand. And of course, now that we have our jars, we can turn sand into clay very quickly. And so what I think we'll do is, because we can get sand even faster doing this, we'll go ahead and we'll get a little bit of sand this way. But I do think it is going to be worth taking the clay that we're going to get over here. And in fact, we do already have a little bit of clay left from last episode. Let me hit play over there, just, of course, as soon as we get some more water in there. Let me move a couple of buckets from here over into the jars. And then that should allow us to make some more clay blocks. We'll hit play on that. And then we'll use that clay, I think, to make yet more of the cast iron so that we can make the crusher. And I do think it might well be worth getting 2 crushers here, because if we get 2 crushers, then we could look at potentially automating cobblestone into gravel and then gravel into sand. And then, of course, we could use that sand to make really as much clay as we like. We do need both stone and cobblestone for this. And so if we were to quickly grab 8 cobblestone, we should be able to smelt that up inside of our new furnace. And then, of course, we can take 4 of that stone and resmelt it into smooth stone. Over here, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, so we can get the cast iron gear required for the crusher here. I would like to get more than 1 cast iron gear if we're going to make 2 crushers, so we'll do this as well. And then over here, we'll press play one more time. That should get us all of the clay we're going to need to make our first BNA, and then that BNA is then going to be used to make all of these different types of BDNA, and we can use those on the DNA spawner, which, again, isn't too difficult. 4 oak planks and 4 oak logs with an empty DNA will get us the DNA spawner. So we'll take these. We'll also take this. We can then craft this guy into our first BDNA. Fantastic. And then if we get just a few more logs, we should then be able to get that DNA spawner. And a few logs later, we also have a few more cast iron. Let's head on back to the crafting station, and we should be able to take 4 oak planks, as well as 4 oak logs, and that empty DNA to get the DNA spawner. Nice. So we'll throw this down. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the way this works is we take a DNA. For example, we could take this bee DNA. We can right-click it on the spawner, and it will spawn that bee. I don't know, though, if we want to just spawn bees kind of randomly on our platform, because from playing the previous Sky Bees mod pack, the bees have a tendency to just fly off the edge of the platform and then slowly sink all the way down to the void, which is not ideal. And then they usually just sit down at like the bottom of the world, which kind of makes them a little bit useless for us. And so I have a feeling that we might want to move this around. I don't know if we have any kind of like bee moving device. There's a bee box right here, can be used to hold up to 10 bees while sneaking to release them. So it's possible this might be what we want to get sooner rather than later. It does require some beeswax and some iron, and so again, it is a little bit further away than we can make right now. But I think for now we can just kind of move this as and when we need to. It is fairly easy to break. Perfect. Also, one thing we didn't do last episode that we definitely should have done is gotten an upgrade for our X, because right now we're still just rocking the classic wooden X. If we were to go ahead and get even more blank patterns, we can do something like this, and just like we did with our pickaxe, we can upgrade this regular wooden X to a stone X, thereby doubling the mining speed and making it just that little bit faster. Cool. So let's go ahead and put some more fuel in there, because apparently that was not enough, and a little bit of smelting later. We now have the smooth stone and the regular stone, and that should be everything, along with the cast iron gear here, for us to get the crusher. And this should make turning cobble into gravel and gravel into sand much easier. Let's give it a go. If we throw a full stack in there, it doesn't require any power either, which is kind of fantastic. And so now we can presumably take that gravel, put it back in, and that's going to produce sand. Nice. And I guess if we really wanted to, we could also look at trying to set up a system that would automatically produce the gravel and the sand, especially given that these are not that expensive. And so you know what, real quick, let me get another furnace going. The furnace, of course, requiring compressed cobblestone. So if we do this and this, we can then go ahead and make a few more of these standard Minecraft furnaces just to make things that little bit faster. I'll also split the fuel here across a couple of these to make it nice and quick. And if we just smelt up some more stone and smooth stone, we can get more of these crushers. This one right here, of course, is going to be completely fine for making just gravel, but if we wanted to automatically make sand, we could have two of these with one of the brick hoppers between them to allow us to kind of just drop cobblestone in the top, that would get turned into gravel, and then the gravel would get pulled down by the hopper, turned into sand, and then we could use that sand, of course, over here to make more clay. Now, I don't think there's currently a good way for us to pump this water automatically into the jar, which is unfortunate. We are going to have to keep moving it over manually, but for the most part, I think that's kind of fine. Let's make sure we don't do something like that, because that is not going to be good for us if we actually lose a source water block. But now we should be getting pretty close to our first actual bee, and the Twitch chat has pointed out that we can, in fact, capture bees using bee jars instead of using the bee box here. The bee box is an upgraded version of the bee jar. The bee jar is made with glass or glass pans. And given that we now have the ability to make sand very easily, I feel like we might as well use the glass pan recipe. We can just throw a bunch of that sand directly into one of our furnaces here and get enough glass to make our first set of bee jars. And then I believe it's just a case of right-clicking on any given bee to capture it in the jar, and then we can release it at a later date. And with that said, the only thing we don't have left then for making just a regular Minecraft bee is a yellow dye. However, we probably do have some mystical yellow flowers. Never mind, we've got purple, we've got pink, we've got red, we've got orange, we've got cyan, brown, blue. We've got basically all of the colors apart from yellow. And so real quick, what I might also do here is take some of our wheat, make some more bone meal, and just like we did in the last episode, I think we'll also go ahead and make some more floral fertilizer, use it on the grass, and then see about getting some mystical yellow petals, which we can then very easily turn into yellow dye. And there we go. First try, our first floral fertilizer did get us some yellow dye. I did waste a few of those there because they were fully grown and I didn't share them, which is my bad. But we did manage to get the yellow petal. And so over here, if we grab our pestle and mortar, we can get our first yellow dye. We should keep the yellow flower. And of course, we should do something like this. Not like this. We should do something like this, and then of course run to make it grow, and then harvest it to get even more yellow petals for the future. We want to make sure we never run out. But now we should have a spare clay over here. We should be able to craft that clay into clay balls, and then using those clay balls, we can get our first BNA, and then over in the chest, we can place the BNA along with the yellow dye. And then let me quickly check the recipe here, because I don't know if we need heat. We do indeed need heat. And so in here, we should now be able to make our first BNA. And we'll hit play there. While we wait the 60 seconds for that to finish, over here we have more smooth stone and more regular stone, so we should be able to make another one of these crushers. We can also do this to get the sand up and running. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let's do, once again, the 4 smooth stone and the 4 regular stone for yet another crusher. We'll throw you down for now right next to the pre-existing one, and we'll do something like that to get even more sand and gravel coming in. And then we just need to get 6 glass in total in order to make our first set of bee jars. So that shouldn't take too long, he says, when there's no fuel in any of these. We could probably do with doing a little bit more tree farming, and we could also, I guess more importantly, do with expanding the platform a little bit as well, which is also going to require some more base building. One nifty thing that I was just made aware about by the Twitch chat is that in this pack, you can just right-click seeds onto dirt to make grass, which is real nifty, and that's going to be very nice for making the base look nice, if nothing else, which is pretty cool. So let's take the glass. Let's do something like this with the middle one right here. Our first bee should be done over here. It is indeed. And so now, if we go ahead and right-click this onto the DNA spawner, we get a bee. And then we can take our empty jar, we can right-click our bee, and now we've stored that bee inside the bee jar. And going forward, if we want to release that bee, we can just go ahead and right-click, and the jar is reusable, which is very nice indeed. So, at this point in time, we now need to think about what kind of bee we want to make. There is a big old quest here showing a lot of the different bees that we can get, and there are a couple of quests for all of the different kinds of DNA. I think one of the first bees that we probably want to work towards is the iron bee. The iron bee can be made by breeding together a cobblestone bee and a wood bee, and both of these, I think, have their own DNA strands. Right here is the wood bee DNA, and right here is the cobblestone bee DNA. Both of these require the standard empty DNA, and they're both actually pretty easy to make. The cobblestone bee DNA just requires cobblestone, and the wood just requires a log, both of which we have the ability to get very easily. And so really the only thing we don't have is the clay to make the bee DNA. And so real quick, what I think we'll do here is I'm going to make some more clay to make those BNAs. Whilst I wait for that clay, I think I'm going to do a little bit of work on making this platform much bigger, making it look a little bit nicer, and we also have to kind of designate some space for where our bees are going to go, especially if we want to actually use them for generating resources. Also, speaking of making the platform bigger, one thing we talked about a fair bit in the last episode was the building wands. And now that we have access to cobblestone, we can do something like this to get a stone wand, and that's just going to make it that little bit easier for us to expand out, because now if we have the correct resources in our inventory, we can do something like this, and we can just very quickly expand our platform out using that wand. Unfortunately, the cobblestone wand can only go at 9 blocks at a time, and its durability isn't fantastic, but it does make it a fair bit faster for us to expand out this fairly small platform. All right, so a little while later, we've made the base a fair bit bigger here. We've now got a 23 by 23 platform. I think it's 21 by 21, and then an extra one for the oak log around the outside. And yeah, we basically did a bunch of tree chopping. We also did some more grass placing. We got a bunch of dirt from our jars, and then just used seeds to turn it all into grass. And we put the center of the platform underneath this collector crystal here, and then just moved some other stuff around to make more space and to organize things ever so slightly. We've also got a visitor over here who currently does not have many trades for us, but who might be useful in the future. So I think what I am going to do actually is I think we're going to get some more sand, which we should have in our inventory. We do. And we're going to go ahead and smelt some of this up. We did have to make new campfires because, of course, when you break a campfire, you don't get it back, but that's fine. We can now make charcoal using our wood, and so getting torches for campfires is easy enough. I'm going to smelt up some glass in here because I think what I want to do next is build a little area. And for now, we're going to build it in the middle, but I think eventually we'll probably move them elsewhere. But I want to build a little area for our bees, like a little zone where we're going to keep our bees kind of trapped for the time being. So for that, we could do with some more wood. Speaking of wood, I might take a quick detour to get some botany pots, because the botany pots here are going to make it very easy for us to automatically passively grow wood going forward. To make the botany pot, we just need 5 terracotta and 1 flower pot, which is basically just all clay. And so over here, we do have 3 clay, and in fact, we can get a 4th and a 5th because we do have a stack of sand in there, and we've got a bunch of water in here, and then it'd just be 3 clay, which I think we also have over here. Never mind, I guess we've only got the 1 clay. That's completely fine. But once we get 3 clay on top of the 5 clay for the terracotta, we should be able to make the botany pot, and then we're going to want to instantly upgrade that to a hopper botany pot to allow us to do some very basic automation. For that, we want to get a brick hopper, which is, you guessed it, even more clay. That is completely fine. Also, I do think it's probably worth doing a little bit of a detour as well into getting another auto jar processor, just so that we can kind of, maybe even 2, just so that if needs be, we can automate any one of these 3, and we don't have to keep kind of manually waiting and pressing the little tick every time we want to make clay. Okay, so a lot of clay later. We should be pretty much good to go here, I think. Let me get another chest. Let's turn that chest into yet another brick hopper. Over here, we're smelting down the terracotta. We've got 2 more to go, and that should be everything for the hopping botany pot. And speaking of the hopping botany pot, I think we're probably going to want to get another storage drawer to hold all of the wares that we get from the botany pot. However, I think that we're probably going to want to make a different drawer to the one we currently have. Right now, we've got a 1x1 oak drawer. I think we're almost certainly going to want to invest in a 2x2 oak drawer. Unfortunately for that, we do need a little bit more wood than we currently have, although these 52 planks might actually push us over the edge here. This is kind of the same as a regular storage drawer, this guy right here, but instead of being able to hold 2048 of one item, it can hold 512 of 4 different items. So the same capacity, but just 4 items instead of 1. The reason we want this, I'm going to put it down right here, is that we can then go ahead and do something like this to make a flower pot. We can then combine that flower pot with the terracotta to make the botany pot. We can craft the botany pot with the brick hopper to make the hopper botany pot. And now if we put this on here, we can then go ahead and place some dirt into there, like so. And if we then go ahead and place a sapling in as well, like this is now going to slowly but surely automatically grow trees for us. This little setup is basically an automatic tree farm. If we look at the recipes here, we can see that every 2 minutes, 1 oak sapling is going to produce logs, sticks, apples, and oak saplings. Or it's going to have a chance to, I should say. You'll see there's a 50% chance to get a log. You only get 1 log. There's a 10% chance to get sticks. That rolls twice. There's a 1% chance to get apples, and there's a 5% chance to get saplings. And this is why we needed a 2x2 draw, because there are 4 different items that we're going to get, and we want space for all of those items in our storage drawer. So we can just leave this now. It's not particularly fast, but it is going to automatically get stuff for us. You can also do the same with other things, by the way. You can do the same with wheat as well. So we could set up another botany pot and have the wheat come in automatically, which could be quite useful, because if we were to put that botany pot, for example, on top of a chest like this, we could then potentially automate the production of dirt, because I'm fairly certain you can put these tubes on the back of the chest. We could put a botany pot on the top, and then we could use this to automatically turn all of those seeds into dirt if that was something that we wanted to do. But what I want to do is I want to see about getting the cobble bee and the wood bee. For that, of course, we just need, you guessed it, even more clay. And what I think I'm going to do whilst we get that clay is build a little bit of an enclosure in the middle of the platform. So essentially what I'm thinking is that we're going to need some more wood, which again is hopefully what this little botany pot is going to provide us slowly but surely over the long term. But for now, we can, of course, gather via our sprinting and our ultra mining. But I think what we'll do is we'll build a little bit of an enclosure that's going to have wood around in the corners like this, and then it's going to have glass on the sides. Not going to be a massive enclosure, but I don't think it needs to be a massive enclosure. Just a space that we can keep our bees and, more importantly, breed our bees to get all of the different bees that we're going to use. And so at some point, ideally, we're going to switch over to clear glass, which is from Tinker's Construct. We are going to need a smeltery for that. The benefit of clear glass is that it just looks better when it's placed down like this. It has a nice connected texture. But for the time being, we'll do something like this. We'll also, I think, just get a regular Minecraft door here, because we do, of course, need to be able to get in and out. And we'll build up kind of a little internal hut where we can place our bees and breed our bees to get other bees. All right, so not too long later, I've made 2 more of these auto-processing jars so that we can now automate all of these. We're already automating the production of clay, and we can go ahead and fill up both of these jars here with water to keep the clay coming in. And I've also finished up the hut, in the center of the base as well, right here. And so what we're going to do now is we are going to see about breeding together our bees, because we have the regular bee, but we need to get 2 more bees, actually, right? We need to get a cobblestone bee, and we need to get a wood bee. So I think both of those are going to be fairly straightforward for us. We'll put some cobblestone and some wood in here. Real quick, what we can also do is something like this, because I'm going to get another crafting station and put it down over here for us to use instead of running all the way back over to the other side of the platform. And what we can do then is we can take this, we can craft it down like this. We can do something like this, get ourselves some bee DNA. And then in here, what we should now be able to do, we should now be able to make a cobblestone bee and start. And then after that's done, we should also be able to make the wood bee as well, this guy right here. And then we're going to take both of those bees and we're going to release them inside of our little bee area. In fact, for the time being, we can actually take our DNA spawner and place it directly in here. We'll move the torch, we'll put that like here for now. And then once we have both of those guys down, it's the iron bee that we're really after. And in order to get the iron bee, we just need to breed together a wood bee and a cobblestone bee, and we have a 100% chance of getting an iron bee. And if I'm not mistaken, all we have to do here is give 1 piece of cobblestone to the cobblestone bee, give 1 piece of wood to the wood bee. These will then breed like any other Minecraft animal, and then we will get a baby iron bee, which we can then use to get iron. Specifically, we're going to get these iron honeycombs, but that is kind of the whole point. So how are we doing over here? This is almost done. Let's get ready to instantaneously swap over to the wood bee as soon as that cobblestone bee is ready. Yes, I would like to swap. Boom. Our cobblestone bee is done. Our wood bee is on its way, and we're going to breed both of these over in here. And 1 minute later, we have our wood bee as well. And so in here, we can do this. And now we have both bees. So if we take some cobblestone, which we have in its compressed form here, and some wood, we should be able to breed these 2 bees together. So we give wood to the wood bee, and we give cobblestone to the cobblestone bee, and those guys should breed together to form a little baby iron bee. Look at that. Nice. And so for now, we'll go and we'll grab our bee jars, and we'll pick up the baby iron bee inside that bee jar. I do think, yeah, it's got like 1,200 seconds left before that grows into a full adult bee. So basically, what we need to do is we need to take our beehive, which we have somewhere right here, and I think ideally we want to upgrade this to the tier 1 beehive from resourceful bees. For that, we need 8 grass, and for grass, we just need bone meal. Bone meal we have. Let's do this. I actually don't know if the karma is going to work here. It totally does. Nice. Let's take all that. That gets us 10 grass, and now back over here, we can craft that grass with our beehive to get a tier 1 beehive. There are multiple different tiers of beehive here. The higher the tier, the more bees and the more honeycombs it can store. So the tier 1 beehive that we have right now can hold a maximum of 4 bees and can hold a maximum of 5 honeycombs. Going forward, there's the tier 2 beehive that can do 6 and 8, and the hive time modification is minus 10%. I believe that also makes it faster to get the honeycombs as well, or they spend less time inside of the beehive, if I'm not mistaken. And you'll see it goes all the way up to tier 4, where we have a maximum of 16 bees in the beehive. For now, this is fine. One thing I think we are going to want to do in like standard vanilla Minecraft fashion is we're going to want to get a campfire that we're going to place underneath the beehive so that we can get the honeycombs out. And so what I am going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and kind of just break this block. We'll place the campfire down like this, and then we're going to place the beehive on top of it like that. And so now these guys should be able to go inside of that beehive. Now, in order to do that, in order to produce the honeycombs that these bees produce, they need different pollinating plants. Regular Minecraft bees just need flowers. However, with resourceful bees, each different bee is going to need a different quote-unquote plant to pollinate. So for example, if we look at the cobblestone bee here, the cobblestone bee requires a piece of cobblestone to generate honeycombs. And so once it has pollinated on the cobblestone, it will go back to the beehive and it will produce cobblestone honeycombs. The same is true for the wood bee. It just requires logs, and then it will go back to the beehive and produce these wood honeycombs. And so for us, we kind of just need to put a log and a cobblestone in here. I think we can embed these in the ground if we want, although for the time being, I think just putting a log here and putting a cobblestone potentially right here, we'll put it in the corner like that. I think that should work. I think they should fly up to those, and then once they've pollinated, they should head back into the hive. And then once the hive is full, it's a little awkward because I think I put the hive down the wrong way around, but right here, you'll see a little bit of honey leaking out once this is full. And once it's full, we just need to shear it in order to get the honeycombs out of it. The reason that we want wood and cobblestone honeycomb isn't really for the wood and cobblestone honeycomb, because although you could use this for like automatic wood and automatic cobblestone, for example, you can take the cobblestone honeycombs, you can run them through a centrifuge, and you do get cobblestone. It's not our best generator of cobblestone. We already have that over here, nor is it really our best generator of wood. We already have that over here. However, if we look at the iron bee, which is what we're really after, the iron bee here requires an iron bee nectar block in order to pollinate and produce the iron honeycomb. The iron honeycomb is what we want because this gets us iron ingots, which is going to open up a lot more avenues of progression to us. To get that nectarine block that the iron bee pollinates on, we need to produce it inside a tempered glass jar with 2 blocks of cobblestone honeycomb and 2 blocks of wood honeycomb. And each one of these requires 9, so we need 18 cobblestone honeycomb and 18 wood honeycomb, as well as 1,000 millibuckets, which is 1 bucket worth of honey. That 1 bucket worth of honey will get kind of passively as we're processing honeycombs. And so this should work. We kind of just need to do this at scale, and to do it at scale, we could probably do with more cobblestone and more wood bees. And so I think what I'm going to do real quick is take yet more clay, produce yet more of the bee DNA, and then we can kind of slowly but surely produce even more wood and cobblestone bees using the old jar over here, that being this one actually. Get rid of that, give me another cobblestone bee. We'll get a couple more cobblestone and wood bees, and we'll kind of put them both in here, and hopefully, somewhat soon, we should start to get honeycombs. Whoops, that's my bad. I think that we might have to swap the hive around, because I think it's currently the wrong way. It's not ideal, because I don't think we can get the, actually, if I do this, the bee might be able to escape here. I should probably get my jars. I'm going to pick you up, ideally. And then we might have to sleep as well, because I don't think the bees come out during the night. If we sleep, we should be able to get that cobblestone bee out. And once that cobblestone bee is out, we can turn the beehive around. So I think the beehive is currently the problem here. Like the bees can go in, but they can't come out. So let's do this. This has it says 1 honey. If I shear that, do I get anything? I don't know if I do, but we can make the clay shears, which are actually not too difficult to make. If we do this and this, we get like half of it, and we can do the other half as well. I think we then have to like smelt them and then craft them together. Is that correct? It is indeed. Okay, cool. Let's do one of those in here and one of those in here. Let's also quickly pick this back up as well. People are asking if the karma works. I actually don't know if the karma works. Also, I should definitely take this wood out of my offhand because I'm placing it down everywhere. I'm assuming this doesn't work. It's not doing anything currently, but that could also be that it just doesn't work until it's full. Let me give that a try. If I take this, and if I do this, yeah, this doesn't also work. It might have to be that the hive needs to be full before we can take anything out. Either way, let's do this, let's do this, and then let's refill this up like that. Let's replace down our 2 bees, and hopefully this time it should start to work. I'll put the cobblestone bee directly on the cobblestone. You'll see it start to spin. That way you know it's pollinating, and then we'll do the same with the wood bee. Also now pollinating, which is perfect. And then once they're done pollinating, they should head into the beehive there, and they should actually start to do work now because of the fact that the hive is facing the correct way, and they can actually use it, which is good. We've got 2 more cobblestone bees here. Let's get those guys in. We'll do 1. Oh, I forget. I've got to do this on the DNA spotter. That's my bad. Let's do 1 and 2. They should hopefully go kind of straight to the cobblestone there. And then over here, we'll swap out the cobblestone for the logs, and then we'll stop you, and we'll switch that to the wood bee, and we'll try and get some more of those as well. Okay, so we got 1 more wood bee, and more are still being made, but you'll see that this is now leaking honey at the front, which means it's now ready to go. So does the karma work? It doesn't. The ceramic shears, though, totally do. Nice. And you'll see that the 5 combs in there were 4 cobblestone honeycomb and 1 wood honeycomb. Nice. And now they're going to kind of rinse and repeat that going forward. And over here, we should be getting even more wood bees. Yeah, they're still coming in. It's going to make 2 more of those so that we have a nice even number of cobblestone and wood bees. And then right now, we don't really need to process these, but if we are going to make that iron nectarine, we do need honey. And so for the honey, we could do with getting the centrifuge. So the centrifuge here, this one's quite expensive and I think does require power. However, there is the manual centrifuge, which is not too difficult. Does require 2 cast iron, which should be fine. We've got 5 bricks on us. Let's put 2 down on there. This wood here, by the way, is just to stop things flying off into the abyss when they come off the campfire, as they tend to do. We then need just a regular barrel and a lever. That is fine. The lever is easy enough. And then in terms of wood, we're not doing particularly well, and unfortunately, the botany pot in this pack is real slow, and the odds are not particularly in our favor, so I don't actually know how useful that was, but it's not going to be too difficult, thankfully, for us to make a barrel, and then over here, we should be almost there on the cast iron. We are indeed fantastic, and that should be everything for the manual centrifuge, which we can go ahead and throw down, and now with this, we can place our honeycombs in, like so. And then if we go ahead, in fact, I'll do a cobblestone one first because we've got more of those than we do of wood. And then if we go ahead and crank it, which I thought we did a bottle, I think, actually. That's my bad. I think you need to put a glass bottle in there. Let me take some glass. Let's do 1, 2, 3, like this. And then we're going to put you in here. Now if we crank it, there we go. It's going to slowly but surely turn the honeycomb into cobblestone and beeswax. And then I think there's a chance, was it 25% chance that we get honey from that? Let me give that a quick check. Yeah, 25% chance to get 250 millibuckets of honey. The honey, it shows here that the honey, if you don't put the glass bottle in, it looks like the honey just kind of goes into the internal buffer, which would be ideal for us because I don't know if we can put honey kind of from a jar straight into, or from a bottle, I should say, straight into the jar. I'm not quite sure how we're going to get honey into these jars, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, we need to put our other wooden bees into here. Let's do 1 and 2. Get a little cramped in here. We also need to, once again, harvest our combs. Fantastic. Again, if you don't have the campfire or like a smoker or something underneath the hive, the bees will get angry when you harvest the honeycombs like that, so just be careful. But now that we have those, let's get out. And yeah, we kind of just need to get 18 of both of these so we can make the iron nectarine, and we also need to figure out how in the world we're going to get the honey from the centrifuge over into one of those jars. Okay, so a little while later, we're still working on getting all of the honeycombs that we need, but I think we can probably look at upgrading the beehive here. So we've managed to get 2 honey bottles. Unfortunately, you can't turn the wood honeycombs into anything in the centrifuge. You'll see there's no recipe for it here, and if I put the wood honeycombs in, I just can't spin it, even with a glass bottle in there, which doesn't do anything. And so, for us, we do need 18 wood honeycomb in order to make the iron nectar block, but we need a lot more cobblestone honeycomb because we need to spin the cobblestone honeycomb in order for a chance to get some honey. Right now, we do have 3, which is good, and it turns out there is a recipe that allows us to craft the honey bottles with a ceramic bucket to get a bucket of honey, which we can then place into one of our jars to allow us to make that nectar block. But I think, real quick, what I would like to try and do here is, for now, probably take away some more of the wood bees, which I've already done. I've already collected a couple of the wood bees because, as I mentioned, we need more cobblestone honeycombs than we do wood honeycombs, and we're almost there on the wood honeycombs. We just need 2 more. But real quick, I'm going to try and get all of the bees out of here so that we can try and get the next tier of hive, because right now we're also kind of limited in terms of how many bees can go in at a time, and therefore how many honeycombs we can get. We can get more if we upgrade to the tier 2 hive, and it also decreases the time they spend in the hive. To make it, we just need 4 beeswax, 4 of any comb, and 1 tier 1 beehive. We obviously have the tier 1 beehive, we obviously have the honeycomb, and we've also got 10 beeswax. And so I think, really, the only thing we're missing now is more glass so that I can make more bee jars to pick up the remaining bees. And then we kind of just have to make sure we get them all out of the hive so that we can pick it up. Let's also take our remaining beeswax here, and hopefully this is also going to get us the remaining honey that we need as well. Let me do one of these, and let's do one of these. Not likely. Yeah, unfortunately. But what we can do is we can take these, we can do something like this, once again, and that should get us more empty bee jars, which we can then, of course, use to take our remaining bees. There are still, 0 in there. Perfect. Okay, I think, in that case, then, we are good to go on picking this up without angering any bees. If you try and pick this up whilst there are still bees here, by the way, they will just become angry and start attacking you, which is not ideal. And instead, it would be much nicer if we were to just take 1 more of those and upgrade this to tier 2. Nice. Again, let's not make the same mistake we made last time. Let's put this down from the back like this so that the apiary faces in the correct direction. Not that it matters if the back is exposed here. We can actually leave this empty because they can't fly through the beehive. And then for now, I'm probably just going to go ahead and put the cobblestone bees back in because we're pretty close on the wooden bees. We've already got 15 honeycomb. We only need 3 more in total. I guess I'll maybe put like 1 of these bees back in. Although now that we have enough space for all of the bees, we could probably put them all in, to be fair. And that's probably going to be just as fast. The only problem before is that we had more bees than we had capacity in the hive. But now that we have more capacity in the hive, I think this is probably completely fine. And so we're going to keep going. We're going to try and get 1 more jar of honey to take us to the 4 that we need. And we'll also look at, I guess I should probably also kind of just leave this guy in here. He can't do anything, but he's also not very useful as a baby either. We need to make him grow up. And so we'll put him in there, wait for him to grow up, so that once we do have the nectar block, we can actually use him to get iron. And then we can also probably, actually, now that I mentioned that, we should almost certainly get another baby iron bee bred so that we can have 2 of them, because then you can also breed 2 iron bees together to get more iron bees as well. So let's do that. That's going to get us another baby iron bee. And again, those are going to take, how long? Like 1,200 seconds, 1,200 seconds. So quite a while, but hopefully, fairly shortly, we should be able to get that the nectarine block. All right, some more honeycombing later. We now have over 18 cobblestone honeycomb. I have taken all of the wooden bees out of here, and I've also put in a few more pieces of cobblestone down because it looks like only 1 bee can pollinate on 1 piece of cobblestone at a time. And so previously they were kind of taking turns to pollinate on the 1 cobblestone, which of course makes them a little bit slower. Now that they've got multiple pieces, it seems to be going much faster. And now we should be able to craft up 2 blocks of cobblestone honeycomb, 2 blocks of wood honeycomb, and of course we should be able to craft our bucket here with all 4 of these honey bottles. Nice. And so now with that, over here, what we should be able to do is place the honey into one of these jars, place the 2 blocks of honeycomb into the chests, and then in terms of getting the iron nectar block here, this just requires low temperature. People have pointed out that although a torch does work, a campfire is actually much better at being a low heat source. The reason for that is that if we quickly make one of these here, we do need more logs. Thankfully, our botany pot here is very, very slowly making wood for us. But if we look at this, you'll see that the torch does work, but its efficiency is 0.25, so it's 4 times slower than 1x. The campfire over here is 0.5x, and in fact, the best way to do this is with lava, because the lava is 4x. So the lava is 8 times faster than the campfire, or 16 times faster than the torch. And so lava would be our best bet. For now, campfire is probably easier, like this. And if we go ahead and type in nectar, I guess we want the iron bee nectar block. It shows all of these is available, but I think only this one will actually work. Yes, and start. All of the stuff was taken, fantastic, and that should get us our iron bee nectar block, and with that, we should finally be able to start using our iron bees. These guys do have a little bit of time left on them, 430 seconds, so, you know, maybe like 8 minutes or so before they're actually going to be able to do anything. That is fine, let's do that. Over here, how long is this going to take? It's going to take 40 more seconds, that's actually not too bad, and of course, we can make more lava using the tempered glass jar, and with the fact that it's just cobblestone means we could probably automate lava quite easily as well, because of course we do have the ability to make unlimited cobblestone, and therefore with the auto jar we could kind of turn it into unlimited lava very easily. And in fact, it's probably worth getting some more lava and seeing about placing it kind of underneath the heat source here. It's gonna be a little tricky. We'd have to put some dirt around, but I think that would be fine. Yeah, we'd probably have to move it a little bit so it didn't look kind of crazy, but it would be quite fast. Right now, I don't know how long it takes for this. I don't know if it tells me. Oh, 64 seconds. This is going to be done in 32 seconds. Actually, never mind. It's totally done already. Fantastic. And so we can place that in here along with our cobblestone. And I guess for now, we can also get rid of this. We'll place you down ideally right about here, but we kind of need to get these bees out of the way. Perfect. All right, nice. And now we can, of course, continue to harvest this here. Perfect. And as soon as these guys are fully grown in 300 seconds, so about 5 minutes, we should be able to start getting our first bits of iron. And really the goal, I think, going forward here is going to be to set up kind of multiple little rooms like this. So what I think we'll do is we'll probably find the center of our platform. We'll probably dig out a little bit of space on either side like this, and I'll probably build a path or like a bridge going out in this direction so that we can put down a bunch of these different bee houses, as it were, going out, because I think we kind of want to have one bee house for each different type of bee, And what we'll probably look at doing at some point in the not-so-distant future, maybe even in the next episode, is we'll look at automating these. These are fairly easy to automate. However, they do require a comparator. And to get the comparator, we need both nether quartz and redstone. Nether quartz here we can get by using quartz dust in a tempered jar with high heat. The quartz dust actually doesn't seem too bad. We do need a quartz grindstone, which does need iron. Again, iron is hopefully something that's not too far away for us here. And that's going to allow us to turn diorite into quartz. I don't think that diorite's going to be too difficult for us to get either. We can, of course, craft it, but we can also, I believe, get diorite using diorite bees. We have the ability to make the diorite bee DNA, although that does require diorite in and of itself. And so I wonder if they want us to use this right here, this recipe with the lava and the water to try and get our initial pieces of diorite. That's probably the way we're going to have to do it. And then we can use that diorite, of course, to get nether quartz. And then as far as redstone is concerned, I think if we want to get some redstone dust, we are going to want to get the redstone bee. And the redstone bee is one of those that we can get through breeding. So we can breed together a cobblestone bee with a cinnabar bee. The cinnabar is a cobblestone and a gold bee. The gold bee is going to be useful in and of itself. That is cobblestone and copper is cobblestone and nickel. Nickel is cobblestone and iron. So there's a bit of breeding to be done, but for the most part, I think that should be fine. And it shouldn't take us too long to get redstone. Once we have redstone, we then just need to get the redstone bee nectar block, which is cinnabar and cobblestone. So we really need to ramp up our bee production and our capacity to hold a lot of bees, but once we do, it should be pretty straightforward for us to start getting a lot of resources. And as soon as we can automate this, as soon as we can automate the production of the honeycomb, we can then, of course, look at getting a higher tier centrifuge to start to automatically turn all of the honeycombs into their respective resources. And that's kind of the crux of the pack here in terms of how we're going to generate things like iron, redstone, coal, lapis, diamonds, emeralds, everything basically going forward. Also, I'm being told by the Twitch chat that the baby bees can also produce combs. It looks like that is true. I see this bee is spinning on here. It looks like they just can't breed until they're adults. But if we go and shear here, are we going to get some iron combs? We got our first iron comb. Nice. Actually, we got the second iron comb. Perfect. And we only need one more iron comb if we want to get that that quartz grindstone. So over here, we can now put the bottles in. We can give that a quick grind, and we should get our first iron. I'm pretty sure guaranteed to get the iron ingot. You are indeed. Look at that. Fantastic. Nice. And so that's going to hopefully open up a fair bit to us. We can also fairly soon look at upgrading to the tier 3 beehive as well. This really isn't too expensive. It's 4 blocks of honeycomb, 4 blocks of beeswax, and the tier 2 hive. People have pointed out that you can use these little upgrade things to upgrade the hives without picking them up. So if we just make the tier 3 beehive, which is the exact same recipe but just with a plank in the middle, we can then just right-click this tier 3 hive upgrade onto our tier 2 hive, and that will upgrade it without the need for us to go in there, take out all the bees, pick it up, craft it, put it back down, put down all the bees again, and kind of go through all that rigmarole every time we want to upgrade, which is perfect. And so for that, we just need to get a bunch more combs, and we're kind of getting there. We would need, I think, 36 combs in total, and then also 36 beeswax in total. Right now, we've got not quite that much beeswax. I count 8 by my estimation, so we've got a little ways to go there, but that's not too bad. And real quick, let's see if we can't get the this quartz grindstone going. So we need 4 sticks. That's easy enough. And then we just need 3 stone and 3 cobblestone. 3 stone we have. 1, 2, 3. And then at that point, we're just waiting for that one last piece of iron. And at that point, we should be almost good to go in terms of getting the nether quartz dust. And for this to work, I'm pretty sure we need a crank from Applied Energistics 2, which is thankfully just sticks. And then on top of that, the final thing we need is, of course, actual diorite. And for that actual diorite, I think we're going to have to set up another cobblestone generator. It would also probably not be a terrible idea for us to potentially look at actually using our first 3 iron here to make a bucket, because if we make a bucket, that's going to allow us to pick up lava over and over again without breaking the ceramic bucket. Right now, the ceramic bucket that we have, it just breaks whenever we try and pick up lava, right? And so what I might do instead, we can cancel this, and I think the lava is made over in here actually, right? We can go ahead and get another bucket of lava going from this cobblestone. 2 minutes and 7 seconds. It's going to take a little while. But once we have that lava, we can then use the iron that we have, make an iron bucket, and we can place that down with the water to try and get some diorite. And in the time it takes us to do that, we should hopefully get enough more iron to actually get the grindstone. On top of that, I think that given that we have 2 iron bees now, I'm pretty sure we could use 2 iron as well to breed those 2 iron bees together and get a 3rd iron bee, because I'm fairly certain that works with basically all bees. If you breed 2 of the same kind of bee together, you're 100% guaranteed to get that 3rd bee. And so that is also probably not a terrible idea here. Let me harvest this. Fantastic. That gives us 2 more iron, which is good. And the tricky part is just catching both of these bees while they're out like that. But they should breed together and give us another baby iron bee. Fantastic. And that's substantially easier than trying to make more iron bees. I guess it's not really that much easier than trying to breed the wood and the cobblestone bees, but either way, it probably would have been a better idea, actually, now that I think about it, to breed the wood and the cobble bees again, because that's much easier than the iron. That's my bad. Either way, let me quickly go ahead and get some more iron here. We will go ahead and make ourselves a bucket. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. And then over here, how are we looking? We are just 47 seconds away from our lava. Okay, the lava is done. We also have yet more iron honeycombs, and these are coming in real fast, actually. We could probably definitely look at getting rid of the cobblestone bees at this point and really kind of ramping up on the iron bees. But we do have quite a lot of iron honeycomb. I got 9 more here, and I believe we might have, 3 more iron in there as well, which is perfect. So the iron is really starting to come in now, which I'm very happy about, and that's good, because I think one of the things we should probably do here is maybe look at making a hopper, because I would like to get some diorite. And to get that diorite, we need to set up a stone generator. Of course, we could make a brick hopper here, but the brick hopper would probably just take more time than the iron hopper, because the iron is now coming in quicker and more easily than the clay is. So let's go ahead and take this. That should be everything for the grindstone. It is indeed perfect. Let's put you down here and stick the crank in on the top like that. Shift right click. Over here, what we're going to do is we're going to throw down a water block here. I'm going to put the hopper here, but before I do that, I'm going to put like a block beneath the hopper, just because I don't want to lose the hopper in the future. So I'm going to leave that there. We're then going to have water that flows here, so the water is going to flow kind of over the hopper, which I think is fine. And then I want to put lava right here, above where the water is going to flow. So let's do this and this. We're going to have the lava go there. But then first, let's put the water here, like this. This is obviously a very temporary setup, chat, just until we get the diorite. We're going to put the lava there. That should produce stone here. It totally does. And then my hope is that because we have a hopper there, it might have been easier if the water could flow elsewhere. The hopper does kind of ruin the fact that it might also be faster if I move the lava up by 1. I remember people in the comment section talking about lava being like it being faster if the lava's flowing. Let me try that. If I do this, is that any quicker, or is that just the same speed? Oh no, it is way faster. Okay, good. Cool. So we can do this, and there should be like a 1 in 10 chance that we get diorite, and the hope is that if we do this and this, we can then take that diorite, place it into the quartz grindstone, and then if we right-click, we can crank that diorite down into quartz dust. Nice. And then we can take that quartz dust, and if we throw it over into our jar over here, or into our chest connected to our jar over here, we should be able to get some nether quartz. Let's see. Let's cancel that. Let's type in nether quartz. Yes. And start. Cool. For us, the nether quartz is really just useful for the comparator, because the comparator is going to allow us to automate the collection, or the harvesting at least, of these honeycombs, which is it's going to be very useful. So that is kind of the main goal of the nether quartz. So next time, chat, we'll come back and we'll look at getting, I think, redstone, really, more than anything else. We'll probably also look at the start of the next episode at getting a smeltery as well, so I can make clear glass, because one thing I would like to do, very much so, is I would like to build more hives, but I would like to build them out of clear glass. This glass that we have right here, not ideal. And another thing that we can do is we can look at getting a, there's 2 things, I guess. There's the player filter right here. This is a block that we can walk through, but the bees can't. Super useful stuff. It does require a gold pickaxe though, but as we just saw, gold shouldn't be too difficult, because the gold bee is not too far away. It's just a copper and a cobblestone. Cobblestone was nickel and cobblestone. Nickel was iron and copper. So we have what it takes to get to that gold bee and maybe get some gold sooner rather than later. People have also pointed out, though, that there is this honey glass, and this honey glass here is maybe cheaper. It takes 2 glass and 2 blocks of honey to make 4 honey glass bee. You can then craft that into honey glass player. The difference is that honey glass bee allows bees to fly through. The honey glass player allows players to pass through. And so this is kind of the same thing, and might be cheaper. It requires, I guess, 8 bottles of honey in total. And how much honey do we currently have? We have got 1 bottle of honey, which is not ideal. Although we do still have to crank through all of our remaining honeycomb, of course, and we do have, I think, yet more cobblestone honeycomb that we could also potentially look at cranking through as well. Yeah, we got 15 here, you know what, and so it might not be that difficult. If we can get 8 jars of this stuff, we could probably make the honey glass fairly easily. All right, that's 8 honey bottles. So let's do this to get 2 honey blocks. And then we just needed 2 glass. Let's do this. Let's do this. And let's do this. That gets us the bee honey glass. We then want, I guess, probably just 2-player honey glass. And so with that, if I were to replace my door here with this, is that going to allow me to walk through and my bees not? It totally does. Look at that. So now we can get in and out much more easily than we could previously, which is perfect. It also looks like we have some honey, so we can just walk in, right-click with our shears, collect the honey, and then walk out. Perfect. That's going to make life just that little bit easier. And of course, going forward, we can kind of do the same thing with all of our other setups. And so now it's really just the glass that I would like to change. And I'll probably end up making these a little bit bigger. Right now, we've got this little like 5x5 externally, which is kind of 3x3 internally. I think as we build more of them, I might build them 7x7 externally and then 5x5 internally, just to give us a bit more space for more pollen blocks and also just more space to kind of move around in. And also, I just think it'll look a little bit nicer. And we've got infinite space going out into the vast emptiness of the world here. So that's not really a problem for us. But what is a problem for Future Isaac is the next episode, because unfortunately we are now out of time. And so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Sky Bees 2 there.